Fear Not, Episode 148. Hi, I'm Billy Atwell, and I believe that consistently facing your fears is the only way to realize your truest self and to make those confident choices that will help you to obtain your deepest held hopes and dreams. I have faith that this podcast series will show you that you are not alone, that it will strengthen you and give you courage to face your fears, and that it will help you to permanently cross over into a life of living beyond your fears. Join me on this journey as we listen and learn from others as they share their experiences in facing and overcoming their own fears. Hello, everybody. Today, you and I are going to be joined by fchan. Welcome, Francis. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Life is wonderful.
Are you ready to fear not today?
Yes, we're ready.
Francis is the best-selling author of Crazy Love, Forgotten God, and You and Me Forever. He is the former teaching pastor of Cornerstone Community Church in Simi Valley, California, which he and his wife Lisa founded in 1994. In 2010, Francis resigned Cornerstone to begin what he calls working to start a church planting movement in the inner city of San Francisco. He's also the host of the Read Scripture podcast series. He's also well known for speaking at international conferences on the topics of hunger and human rights issues. Francis, can you take a few moments to fill in the gaps and maybe give us a brief glimpse of your personal life?
Yeah, I've been married for 23 years. I have 7 children. My oldest just got married. My youngest is 2 years old. So I am pretty busy as a dad. Spend a lot of time just helping guys that are coming out of prison, men and women coming out of prison, helping them get back into the world and helping them get jobs and get their lives back together. And spend a lot of my days just traveling to third world countries to build hospitals, wells, and things like that. So I get to do like all the things I love to do in life.
Sounds great, and thank you so much for sharing. Francis, would you also share with us today one of the biggest fears that you've had to face?
Well, for me, my childhood was so unique in that my mother actually died giving birth to me, and but then my dad remarried, and then my stepmother died when I was about 8 years old. And then my dad got married again, and then my dad died of cancer when I was 12. And so as a kid, I think my biggest fear, hands down, was death. I mean, there's something about, like, I remember being an 8-year-old kid and seeing my mom in this coffin and her body lying there. And then when the body went into the ground, I mean, it's just scary. It was traumatizing. I'd go to bed at night and I would picture that and think, wow, like she's under the ground right now. I was just with her, and now it's over. And then to go through it with my dad a couple of years later, it just, as a child, it freaked me out. It's terrifying. You know, you want to believe, okay, nothing's going to scare me, this or that, but just to be honest, seeing their bodies lifeless was overwhelming. And as a kid, to see them buried, it scared me. It scared me really bad.
So how did you overcome that?
Well, it got me pretty serious as a 12-year-old kid. I just started thinking about life and going, okay, so that could be me tomorrow. I mean, this is happening over and over in my life. And so I needed to find out what happens after, and just started studying, started pursuing different religions, just wanted to know what happens when I die. And I was challenged to read the Bible, study the Bible, and something happened as I started reading this book and its promises about the future. Something clicked for me when it started talking about forgiveness and how I could be forgiven. something clicked for me. And then when I began to pray, okay, and this is not just like wishful thinking and praying for vague things like, oh, I hope it's sunny tomorrow, but like specific prayers, like things were answered. I guess it wasn't, it's not just some religious thing. It was like, gosh, I asked for this and this happened so specifically and would happen over and over that I realized there's something more than what I see physically here. I am literally praying to God and he is literally answering me. And once I had that confidence of, I am, and I probably sound like an absolute freak to some people that are listening right now, but I'm telling you, I just know there is more than flesh and blood. There's more than just what you see. And when I started getting all these answers to prayer, that's when I just had a confidence that it's not just about my life being over when I die. It's about having a relationship with the person who actually created me and, well, I believe created this whole earth.
So how do you handle fear in general?
I can say I don't really fear anything anymore. The Bible says in Romans 8 that he works all things together for the good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And so even when difficult things happen, I just go, you know what? This is all in his plan. I even see like the deaths of my parents. Like now, I thank God all the time for the deaths of my parents. And again, that seems weird, but no, because it got me serious at that stage of my life to where I really believe I found God and have this relationship with him that is better than any earthly relationship I have. And so I see how some of the worst things in life ended up for my betterment, just like it says in Scripture. And so it causes me to look at, I just take everything in stride and go, well, I'm promised that no matter how bad it may look on the outside, it's going to work out for my good. And he's proven that over and over.
Do you have any resources that you've come across that you could share with us today that might help us on our own journeys in overcoming fear?
Yeah, it's interesting because I have an older brother, and he asked me one time, he goes, hey, do people ask you, like, are you scarred from the past? And I go, yes. And he goes, what do you tell them? I go, I don't know, because you almost feel like you want to come up with something, but our lives really are great. And it really came from a study of the Bible, Christian Bible. I mean, just reading it over and over. And I just have met very few people who have actually read that book cover to cover. I do it every year, sometimes multiple times a year. That is the resource for me. I really don't have a whole lot to add to that book.
Are you ready for the speed run?
Sure, let's go for it.
What individual, whether they be fiction or real, has made the most impact on your life?
Jesus Christ, hands down. Just his life, his example, Jesus.
And if you could instantly change one thing in the world, what would you change?
I would open people's eyes to the majesty of God. I think we just say the word God and think there's just some little old man out there at the end, rather than realizing that it's like standing before an atomic bomb or trying to stand on the sun. I want people to understand just how great God is.
What's your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness would probably be, there's so many. I think self-centeredness. A lot of days I wake up thinking about myself and just wanting to be comfortable rather than really loving people.
What's your biggest strength?
My biggest strength is that I think I take things in stride here on the earth, and I really, the things of the earth don't matter to me. Like I've made millions of dollars, and I just give it all away because I'd rather help people. Like I'm not real attached to stuff because I'm focused on eternity.
Do you have a favorite sound?
My favorite sound. I love silence. I love hearing waves break on the shore.
And Francis, if someone would like to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Probably through the website crazylove.org.
And what parting advice would you like to leave with us today?
Just that life is brief. It is over in a second. And so you need to know what comes after and search with it with all of your heart. God says you will find me when you seek me with all of your heart. So it's not just a casual thing that just kind of happens. It's like, no, when you really want to know truth, you'll find it.
Sounds excellent indeed. And thank you so much for that. And Francis, I want to thank you for coming on the show as well today and sharing your story and, sharing your faith and just spending time with us today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me today. And remember, you cannot achieve everything, but you do have the God-given ability to achieve anything. So stay focused, out of fear, and keep on keeping on. Until next time, be well and peaceful. For more information on today's episode and guest, or for resources that will assist you in overcoming your fears, visit livingbeyondyourfears.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, where 3 times a week we move to a life beyond our fears.